Hello and welcome back, everybody. This is episode 25, and we have got some absolutely insane, extremely fun hands coming up. Let's get straight into it. The very first hand we played, we have ace-6 off, and it's folded around to us on the button. I think this is a fine open, so I go 5x, and I make it 15. Only the big blind calls, and we are heads up to a flop of ace-6-4, two clubs. Checks it over. We're going to size up here because it's heads up. I bet 20, and he check raises us a little bit small to 50. When he does this, his range, I think, is going to be 6-4 suited, ace-4 suited, maybe some ace-4 off, but I don't think so too often. And then also some combo draws like 5-7 of clubs, 5-3 of clubs, stuff like that. So I'm going to proceed a little bit cautiously. Also pocket sixes, pocket fours. Since we beat a few of those hands, but not that many, I'm just going to proceed with a call and see what happens on the turn. Turn's okay. It's not great. It's a 3 of hearts, so 5-3 suited, it improve a little bit, as well as 5-7 now is straight. He bets 100 now. Getting a bit dicey here. My top two's kind of not feeling great. I don't want to just get this in right now, so I'm just going to flat here. And we see a 3 of diamonds on the river. Looks all right. This time he checks it, and I think that we're good here now. Now that he checks, he obviously could be trapping with 6s and 4s, but I think we're just gonna have to go for it here. I jam all in. He says, "What the fuck is that river?" So looks like he has 6-4 suited, and eventually just folds and says, "Nice ace king." No. We were good the whole way, looks like. He did show 6-4 diamonds, so could have maybe made more, but I still think I like the way I played that hand. In this next hand, we have a real hand. Sort of. Pocket threes. Facing 2 limps, I make it $15 or $18. Same player as before in the hijack makes the call, and one of the limpers also calls. So we are 3 ways to a flop of ace, queen, 9, 2 clubs. Checks to me. I don't think there's any sense in checking this. We're not going to get a fold on a flop like this, so I just check it back, and hijack also checks. Off to the turn, which is the 4 of hearts. Checks to me, just going to keep checking here, and hijack decides to bet $15. Under the gun folds, and I'm not a believer. I think he would have bet any ace, queen, or 9 on the flop. Maybe he turned a 4 and he's betting for protection. That kind of sucks, but it's just one card, so I toss in the call. River is the 7 of hearts, no help. Check it over to him, and this time he bets 40, and I am a non-believer. I think it sucks when he's bluffing with, 4 or 5 suited, but I don't buy it. So I toss in the call, ask him to show his hand, and he has king 8 of diamonds. Nice. We're going to take that one down. Finally, a real hand. We're looking at 2 limps. Low jack has actually raised instead of us this time. And the cutoff has called the $12. We got king 10 of clubs on the button. Could squeeze, but I like to play this in position. Even multi-weight still holds up. It's a strong suited hand. So I flat and small blind and big blind call, as well as one of the limpers. So we're going 6 ways to a flop. Comes down 6-4 deuce, 2 clubs. Small blind checks, and the same player as before, battling him again. He leads out for half pot, $35. The original limper and original razor fold, and the cutoff makes the call. We could definitely call this in position. It's definitely profitable. Anything we do besides folding is going to be good. But I'm going to take the more aggressive route. This is not a very strong bet. He probably just has a 6 or maybe pocket 7s, and I think we can get him off it. So I bump it up to 120. Small blind gets out the way. Big blind thinks for a little bit. Also gets out the way. Cutoff thinks, and he also folds. Pretty nice. Take down a pretty big pot with no contest. We are once again playing the same player from the last 3 hands. I'm not picking on him. It's just the way the cards are dealt. We're looking down at, 6 limps, and we have ace king off in the big blind. I make it $30, and we actually get 3 callers. So we're going 4 ways to a flop of ace 9-5 rainbow. Pretty sweet. Checks to me, I'm going to bet about 1/3 pot. I make it 40, and we get 2 callers. So 3 ways to a turn, which is not good. It's a 5 of diamonds. Bringing in a flush draw and also pairing a one of the cards that they could have been calling with on the flop. So I'm going to start off with a check here, play this a little bit cautiously. If under the gun jams, I'm probably going to call. If under the gun plus 2 jams, I have a decision. So under the gun luckily checks, and now the same player from the last few hands bets small, $75. And here I think I messed up a bit. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this hand. I think I could have got more value with a small raise, but after seeing under the gun check and under the gun 2 bet this size, I know I'm like 90% of the time I'm going to be good. So I don't want to just call here because I think this is like betting ace 10 or something and then checking back any river. So a raise is needed here, but he doesn't have too much behind. It's like the size of the pot when I jam, but I also think that he's just not calling with anything. So I wouldn't mind like a raise to like 150 here, or maybe some sort of river lead, but I really hate that. But anyways, in the moment I decided to jam, even though I thought it didn't make, I didn't think it was the best play. I just couldn't figure out what else to do. But looking back, I think maybe a raise, like a min raise to 150. Under the gun folds, and under the gun 2 unfortunately also makes the fold. Don't know. Love to hear your guys' thoughts on that one. On to the next hand. Under the gun is raised to 15. We're next to act with Jack 9 suited, and we're pretty deep. Against a reg, I would either 3-bet or fold this hand. Play mostly 3-bet. I like playing hands. But against a rec, I'm pretty happy to play in position with a suited 1-gapper. So I make the call as well as the button. So 3 ways to a flop, which comes out pretty sweet. 9-4 deuce, 2 spades. Top pair, okay kicker, and flush draw. He starts out with a bet of 20. I make the call, and button gets out the way. I don't think there's any sense in raising here. We're only getting called by better, and then we're turning top pair into a bluff. I don't know. Turn is the deuce of clubs, pairing the bottom card. Not a great card. Our 2 pair outs are now dead, and it brings in another flush draw. He now bets and sizes up a bit to $50. This is, just over half pot. Nothing to do here but call. Yeah, pretty much call is the only option here. I call, and I'm looking at him while this card rolls off, and I see that it's a red card, and I think, ugh, but it's a 9 of hearts. And he just sizes up here to $150. Weird that he would size this on a card that is just so bad for him. I'm a little bit concerned about quads, but how concerned can you really be about quads, right? I'm thinking that we're probably chopping here, which is nice because he's probably got a better 9 than me. But this guy, if he does have an overpair, I just don't think that he's going to fold to a raise. But in this spot, I would usually use a min-raise sizing, which I think I actually like better. But I don't know, when he bets this size, I just don't think he's folding anything. So I go for a bit of an exploitative sizing, and I make it 450. I do prefer 300 here. And he thinks for a little while, he says, oh, I guess you have a 9, and actually folds. So another little mistake, I think. Don't know. But happy to take down yet another pot. This hand is fun. All right. We got an 8-handed table. Everyone except for one person has limped, and the small blind for some reason raises to $15. Same player as last hand. Literally no one folds. We are going 7 ways to a flop with a hand that plays very well multi-way, especially when the flop comes down ace, ace, 3, 2 hearts. We flop a boat 7 ways in a $105 pot. Amazing. Small blind unfortunately checks. We're definitely going to start betting here. So I make it 30, and everyone folds, and the small blind thinks about folding, but tosses in the call. He just took a while to call. I don't know if he's thinking about folding, so it looks like possibly trapping with a hand like ace, king, ace, queen, or he's got a pocket pair like queens, jacks, tens, because I would expect him to bet kings. I don't know why, but I just think he would bet kings. So off to a turn, I don't know what we're hoping for, but you get an ace. We turn quads, as if our full house wasn't enough. So it looks like he's not trapping with ace king or ace queen, because that would be impossible. But now it's going to be very hard for him to fold a hand like queens or jacks or kings if he has it. So he checks to me, and I'm going to size up here to 110. Doesn't think for too long and tosses in the call. Off to a river, which is the 5 of diamonds, doesn't change anything. He checks it over to me, and now, if you can believe it, I actually have a read on how this guy plays against repped quads. A few hands earlier, maybe about half an hour before this hand, the river was ace, the board was like ace, 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 king, 8. He had a king, and the other person was betting very strong the flop and turn, then checked the river when the final ace rolled off. He bet $100, and then the player snap jammed on him, and I just thought, oh my god, this guy's got quads for sure. He ended up calling with just the king, and the guy was bluffing with the 8, and he's like, no one has quads. All right, so if no one has quads, I'm going all in. Yep, we are overbet jamming with quads here. The only hand I would use as a bluff here would probably be Jack 10 of hearts, because really the only ace that I'm betting on the flop would be ace 3 suited, which there's only ace 3 of diamonds and ace 3 of clubs. So I probably would use something like Jack 10 suited and Queen Jack suited of hearts as my bluffs. I probably need one more bluff combo in there, but I don't know what to do, because I think that he's going to fold anything like 9s and below, so that removal is not important. I don't think a king removal is important, because I think he bets a flop with it. So I think Queen, Jack, and 10 removal is the most important, so that's why I would use those hands to bluff with. So I guess like Queen Jack, Queen 10, and Jack 10 of hearts would all be bluffs here. And then ace 3 would be my only bets on the flop for value. Just because I'm not going to have ace king or ace queen and ace jack, I'm not betting on the flop. So I really only have ace 3 suited. He thinks for not even that long and goes, guess it's time to go home. Love those words. Tosses in the call and shows pocket 8s. Surprised he called with that hand, but very happy to take down a $1,400 pot with quads. In this next hand, we are facing a limp and we have king queen off in middle position. I raise it up to $15, button calls, as well as the original limper. So 3 ways to a flop of king 8-7 rainbow. Pretty good flop. Checks to me. I'm going to start with a small bet, 15, and only the limper calls. So off to a turn, which is the 7 of diamonds. Not a great card. Checks to me. I'm just going to check this one back. River is the deuce of clubs. Checks once again, so I'm pretty sure I got the best hand here almost always. And a little bit of backstory. This player is, I don't know, they just fucking hate me. I don't know why, but I actually knocked some chips off of my tower and it got into his space and he just swiped them back into my area. And you can't really see it, but during this entire hand, he is just glaring at me. Just glaring daggers at me. A little bit uncomfortable. Every other person he's played against, he's just been on his phone, distracted, playing. I don't know what's going on, but I think he's going to think we're going to try and bluff him. So I'm going to size up here. I'm going to make it look like a bluff. So I bet $100, doesn't think for too long, tosses in the call. I show my hand, and he shows ace king. He pretty quickly grabs my money and adds it to his stack, but I don't know what that's about. But anyways, nice hand, fella. On to the next hand. Okay, this is our second session here. We're going to kick it off with pocket kings. Button straddles live, and the small blind and big blind have completed. Player to my right has raised to 30, and we're going to raise this up. It doesn't have to be 3x here because the stacks are so shallow with the straddle on. So I just make it $80. I would do this with all my hands, so bluff or not. Folds back around to him, and he makes the call. So off to a really nice flop of queen 7-3 rainbow. Checks to me. I'm going to start off with a small bet as I would with all my hands. I make it 50, maybe a little bit too small, but he makes the call. Off to a turn, which is the 6 of spades. Checks to me, and with a pot size bet behind, I don't mind going like 1/3, 1/3 here, which I think gets it all in. I can't remember, but I think the better play is just to check and induce. So that's what I do. I check it back. River is the 3 of clubs. Beautiful river. We faded the queen and the ace. And good news, he bets at 110. We still lose to pocket queens, which would suck, but I am going to go for all of it. So I announce all in. And he's thinking. And he goes, there's no way you can have aces or kings. You check back the turn. Yes. And he eventually tosses in the call. We show, and it's good. Great start of the session. On to the next hand. We're looking at down to 2 limps. We have ace jack off on the button. I make it 18, and we actually get three callers, so we are 4-handed to a flop of queen 9-9 rainbow. Checks to me. Just gonna check this back. We see a really nice ace of hearts on the turn. Checks again. Low jack now leads for half pot. Cutoff fold. I make the call, and small blind gets out the way. Off to a river, which is the 5 of diamonds. And he bets out 85, leaving himself only $15 behind. Pretty gross spot, 4-handed. Our ace also chops with all other aces, so if he was betting an ace, we are only calling for half the pot. I don't think he's betting a queen here, and I think he's just got a 9 very often here. So I make a pretty disciplined fold. He says good fold, but during the course of this session, we played about 20 pots with this guy. Every single time I would flop middle or bottom pair, and when I check it over to him, he would just bet, bet, bet. So I think I got bamboozled this hand. Yeah, this guy ran me over this session. We once again have ace 3 of diamonds in the big blind. Let's try and get some quads again. 3 limps, we raise it up to 20. The original limper calls, and so does... Oh no, we're heads up. My bad. Off to a flop of ace 6-4 rainbow. I check it over, and he starts off with a small bet of $15, 1/3 pot. Gonna make the call here. Off to a turn, which is the 7 of clubs. Check it over, and he once again bets 1/3 pot. Nothing to do but call, and we see a 10 of hearts on the river. I check it over to him, and now he bets 100. I think that this should probably just be a fold, but I start talking to him a bit, and the only hand that makes sense here is exactly ace 10. That's the only hand that makes sense. I can't see him doing this with any other hand. Like 8-9 would make sense, but he would never bet that on the flop. So ace 10 is very unlikely here. So I decide to look him up. I toss in the call, and it's ace 10. Nice hand. In this next hand, the button straddle is live, small blind has completed. We're in the big blind, king 10 of hearts. I make it 25, and only the small blind calls. So we are heads up to a pretty nice flop. 10-9-5, 2 clubs. Checks to me. I'm going to size a little bit over half pot here, so I make it 35, and he calls. Off to a turn, which is, it's okay. It's a 7 of hearts. Doesn't complete too much, but there are some more 2 pairs to be worried about, as well as 6-8, but I think we still have a clear value bet here, so I bet pretty big, $90. And he tosses in the call pretty quickly. Off to a river, which is the 6 of diamonds. Checks it over. There's no sense of betting anymore, so I just check it back. And he shows pocket jacks. Value owned ourselves there. Nice hand. This next hand, we're playing against the same opponent. There's a limp from middle position, and he is raising the small blind to $26. Now, if you remember last hand, he limp called pocket jacks. So you're probably thinking, what am I doing calling here with 10s? I guess I could be set mining. But also, he's been changing up his play since that hand. He once had an open to 40. No idea what it was. Opened another hand to 30, like a few hands later. And then like another few hands later, he like 3-bet someone to 40. So he's been getting very aggressive with some very big sizings. So I don't know what his range is here. There's no way he got queens plus 3 hands in 1 orbit. So I'm going to proceed with a call, thinking that I could possibly still be good, but not wanting to re-raise, and middle position gets out the way. So off to a flop of jack 8-3, 2 hearts. He fucking pots it. This is pretty indicative of like aces, kings, queens. But I don't know, I'm just not believing this. I don't know why. So I toss in the call, and we see a pretty good turn. It's a 9 of hearts. If all things, it should slow him down with all of his overpairs. So he actually checks it. And now I don't really think he has an overpair, because usually when a card like this comes, they just panic and just jam. They just want to get the hand over with. But I don't know, our hand's not strong enough to just jam here. So I just check it back. We see an amazing river. Queen of spades. Even better, he just bets. 125. Against this player, sure, he could be trapping with some sort of ace king of hearts or something, but I think more than likely he might have some pocket queens here, maybe kings or aces, but I really just having trouble ranging this guy after his weird plays lately. So I'm going to go for all of it. I jam all in. Thanks for a little bit, but unfortunately does make the fold. Very curious as to what he had here. In this final hand, we have king 9 of clubs looking down at a limp, and we're in the cutoff and we make it 15. Only the button calls, so we are heads up to a really nice flop of 9-4-3 rainbow. Gonna start with a small bet here. I think 15 is better, but I bet 10, and she makes a call. Off to a turn, which is all right. So 5 of spades, some 2 pairs get there, some straights, but I don't know. I'm going to size up a little bit here, but I don't want to go too big because I think her most likely holding is like 8 7s or 6s, or maybe another 9. So I just bet 25 and she makes the call. So off to a river, which is the 3 of diamonds. Really good card. I'm going to size up a little bit here. I just don't think go too big. I don't think her hand's very strong, so I just make it 65. She thinks for quite a while, but eventually tosses in the call. Let's hope we're not value owning ourselves again. Pocket 10s here. I show, and it's good. Good way to end the session. Wow, what an incredible session and a half. That's episode 25 for you guys. Insane. I cannot believe we got paid on that quad 10. I think I played pretty well. I might stop using live reads. I'm just really, really bad at them. We played 2 sessions over at Grand Villa. Both of them we were in for 600. For the first one, we were out for 1805 for a win of 1205. Second one, we were out for 743 for a win of $143. That is a total win of $1,438 across the 2 sessions. We started today's challenge with 5,233. And we're going to end up at $6,581. This is a brand new peak for the channel. We are once again at the highest we've ever been, and we finally recovered from that horrible $4,000 loss at the beginning of the month. Thank you guys so much for watching. Love it. I'll see you all in the next one.